Hey guys, so today we are going to automate another test case, and as we discussed last time that the test case which we are going to automate will be part of our tool, test management tool. So we already automated these test cases. So test case 1, test case 3, if you see here automation, I have marked them as automation. We have already automated these 3 test cases, first, second and third. That is the last test case which we automated was about hamburger menu. Now we are going to automate test case number 8, which is product description view. So if I go inside this, and if you notice, the way I have created this is already in a BDD format. And this is what I was talking about earlier, that the test case, when you go and add the test case in this portal, you should be creating using BDD format and not any other format which you have used earlier. I guess you have created test cases with the text formats or maybe some other formats, but we don't want it because eventually we're going to automate, we are going to create this kind of statements here. So it's better that when you write your manual test case, you write it in a BDD format itself. So let me go back there again, test case number 8. So I'll go inside this, and the benefit of maybe for writing this in this format would be it is very easy for anyone to read and understand what really the context of the test case is. And this will also help you in writing your step definitions, steps here quickly, because you already have put some thought here while writing it. So so here what I can do is simply I can just copy it. Okay, so this will be my scenario. So with any test cases which you're going to automate using BDD, the first thing is to create its feature file, or maybe create its step scenario. You have to write this BDD in Gherkin format first, right? So that's what I'm trying to do right now, and I would be annotating this or putting a tag here as TC008, as we discussed last time, that we are going to put some tags over all of our scenarios. So here a user should be able to click on a product link from the search page, and product description page should be displayed. So what I'm talking about right now with this test case is that as soon as you search for something and you click on that product, the product details should be displayed. Now things to notice here is that when you click on a product, it opens a new tab, right? So while automating this test case, I'm also going to cover how to handle 2 tabs or 2 windows in Selenium. So this is why, that's the reason I chose this test case for automation. Now let me go back and just let me quickly create this scenario here. Let me copy and paste quickly, and maybe where is my, yeah, so I will just copy. So I will have to I will kind of reuse these few steps. So we already have a step for when I have browser open and URL is navigated. We already have a step definition for I search for products as Dell, right? We might not be having a step definition for these 2, for which we need to create it, but for above these 2 we already have it. So that's how basically we reuse steps in Cucumber. Let me just quickly copy paste. Yeah, well, so now I have moved all of these steps here. There will be few differences here, the way I have written here, the way I have written here, that could vary depending on who is writing the scenario and who is writing its corresponding automation test cases. So this depends on your statement. Should be very, it should be readable, it should be understandable to the person who is reading it. There could be a mismatch, because maybe this test case which is there in this test management portal is being written by a manual person who doesn't have much understanding of what are the steps and what are the step syntax for which existing step definitions are present. So he will just write the test case in the way he understands best, the way he could establish the scenario context. On those basis he will actually write it. But when an automation tester reads it, he will have to modify a few of the things here, and based on his understanding of scenarios, he will he has the liberty to customize it only till the context of the test case is not changed. So what he means here, let's say this is a manual tester, what he means here, when you are converting that to your format, the test case should, the context of the test case, the validation part of the test case should not be modified. So that is the main point I'm trying to put forth. Now, since we already have these two steps already being created, so these are not coming as yellow. This is coming as yellow. That means we are not able to, it is not able to, Cucumber is not able to find the step definitions for these. So as you know, what we have to do is we need to generate it. So to generate it, I will make use of this tag, and that's how we do it, right? The previous video also, that's the way we did it. So I'll just move it here, and I will just run this. So while running it, maybe I'll say dry run as true, because I didn't actually want to run it. So I'll say dry run as true, and when we do a run as JUnit test, so it has created definition for missing steps. I'll just copy it, go back to my search step definitions. By the way, I am still considering these steps as search step definitions. However, if you don't feel like doing it, maybe you can create another one for product description. But I think this should be part of search, because most of the operations which we are doing here are actually part of the search page, right? So mostly the three operations, 3 steps deals with the search and clicking here. Only the last step, which is checking things here, goes into the product description step definitions. So I'm considering this and I'm putting all of these in the single step definitions called a search step definition. So what I'll do is I will paste it here. So when I click on product in the search, this definitely is a search related. When I'm able to see the product description detail in new tab. This could be part of a product description step definition, which is not right now as of now not here, but you can choose to create it. And while creating new step definition, you need to make sure that you copy these steps, because this is the dependency injection mechanism which we are using here, as I explained in the previous videos. So you need to make sure that there is a constructor in the new step definition, and that constructor is consuming this text context UI class which we created, which actually holds a lot of our details related to page object model and driver and all. Right, so right now, since we don't need it, I'll just paste it here. Right now it's throwing Cucumber API pending exception. Now the next part comes, so first we'll talk about how will we click on any product in the search result. So in order to click on any product, by the way, this test context was not about clicking on a specific project. So if you see the context, that it is saying click on the first product, or you can choose to click on any of the product, it doesn't matter. The context of the test case is that once you click on a product, it navigates, it creates a new tab, and the product description on which you clicked is present in that new window. So this is the context. So instead of writing click on the first product, so this is written by a manual tester, for example. He just thought at the time that I will click on first product, but I'm taking it as a click on any product. And I can choose to click on the first product. I can even parameterize it. So I can say click on first, second, third, but that doesn't even make sense if we talk about the context of the test case. Because the test case is only all about clicking on a link and it should navigate to the product description in a new tab. That is the context. So that's why from clicking on the first product, I have made changes and made it to click on any product. Now, let me close this search. So now I have these definitions. I'll go here. And now since I have to click on a specific thing, I will have to go to its corresponding page object model file. And this case, I will have to go to search page object model file. Why? Because I have to click on this link, and this, whatever below this menu items, whatever is coming right now, it comes under search page object model file. Right, and I will have to click on this link. So first and foremost, I would have to go ahead and I will have to create its XPath here, XPath entry here. So to do that, what I'll do, I will just first search for it. So this is what it is. I have, by the way, I have already written the XPath for this. The way I've written is, I have first looked for the parent. So div class as result list as search results SG row. So this is this element. Let me just show you where is that. I'll just copy this, Control X. So this is the parent of all the product which is coming here. And what I'm doing next is I am putting a relative path again here. Okay. And based on this, that I need to find element of type span whose class is this, because this is where the text is coming and I need to fetch the text. Why? Because based on this text, I will kind of validate that once I click on this, the same product is also being displayed here with the same title, right? So I need to know this text beforehand when I click on it. And this is how basically I will validate. So I will say this text is coming here as also. So that's how I will imply that, yeah, the same product description is opened when I click on a specific link on the search page. So that's the reason I am selecting this span, so that directly comes under this span, we directly have the text. So this is my XPath, and the good thing is this XPath is returning me all the list, all the 16 elements. So all the element which you have here, so there are 16 products coming on this page, and when I move from one page to another page, I see all of these being displayed. And basically that is what I want. I'm not interested on a specific element, or sorry, specific product, like the first product. I'm interested in all, so that when the time comes, or maybe let's say someone says click on the 5th product, click on the 6th product, like the way the test case was saying, right? If that is the case, then this comes very handy, right? Based on what is it which the user is passing, click on the first, click on the second, click on the third. Based on that, I can easily point out which element I need to click, and the same element I would use to fetch the text, and then I would validate. A lot of words here. Let me put these words into code here. So what I'll do, I will say private by the way, you see there is another same product list is already coming. I think this is the full list, the container of it, this one, but we are interested in specific element, specific products entry. So I'll say product list all, and then I will say by dot XPath, and here I will put my XPath. Not this one. So I will have to copy the complete XPath, which is returning me the full text of it, right? So okay, something not right. Yeah, did the error go? No. Okay, what mistake did I make? Okay, I think there's extra bracket, right? So now I have product list all. Now next thing I would need to do is to click on it, and if you notice, I'm not putting any hard logic inside my step definition file. My step definition file should look very, 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 very clean. No extra loose code should be present here. All the logic goes inside my page object model file. So if the logic is related to the page objects elements, it should go into the page object model files. If it is something else, maybe some connections or maybe some file manipulations, they will move somewhere in the utility areas, but nothing in the step definition file. Step definition file is supposed to be very clean. Next thing is, yeah, so next thing here would be about writing our logic in our page object model file, which is here. As I said, your step definition file should be very clean. All it should have the method calls. So method call should be there, but the logic should not be there. And this logic is all about, so we are here manipulating the page objects because we need to click on something. That's why we are putting this logic here. So now we'll write the logic. We'll say public void, we create a method. So public void click, click on product link. Right now, based on what kind of clicking operation you want to perform, we can also pass some arguments. So right now I'm just keeping it simple. So we'll say click on product link, or maybe click on any product link, right? Then we can have, you can create some more overloaded methods. Maybe if we just remove this from here, we can say click on product link, and then we'll say integer I, right? Or index, product index maybe. So I'll write product index. So two methods. Maybe if you call this, it will just click on any of the link. If you say product link and provide the index, then it could click on that specific link. Or you can also say something like this, where you have string and you can say product text, or maybe contains. So you can say click on this product which has this text. So I am going to write the implementation of all of these methods. Let me just quickly write it without completely recording what I'm writing so that it saves time in the video. So to do that, we have a interact class. In the interact class, we have a special method. The special method is it returns me the list of web elements, right? We pass it a by and it gives us the list of web elements. So we are actually not directly writing driver.find elements, driver.find element, all those statements. Why? Because we have this reusable library which we created earlier called as interact.java, and this is where we kind of write all the low-level methods which actually interacts with the elements. So this is how we have layered our framework. So this is the lowermost layer where actual operation happened. Then we have page object model layer where we have logic, and then we have a step definition layer where we just call those methods which are defined in the page objects, and then on top of it we have feature files. So there are 4 layers available here in this framework, right? So I'll come here and I will make use of this method. This method is get list of web elements, right? Because we need get list of all the web elements because our X path here returns multiple elements. So I'll just call it here, and I will say the by which I will pass here would be this, and what it will return me is a list of web elements. List of web elements, and this will be my list. Okay, I made a mistake. Right, then what I'll do next is, since this is about click on anything, any of the method, then all I would do is I will say click element, and here I would just write, so this will, I will pass list dot get and index as 0. Why 0? Because I don't care which product I click, because this is about click on anything, because there's no argument, specific argument which one to click. And this will actually click my element, the first element in this case. If I go inside this click element, by the way, if you notice, we have 2 implementation of it. One is one click element accepts by, second click element accepts a web element. Okay, so I'm making use of this one. Here I'm directly passing web element here. Let me go back here. Now the same kind of implementation, by the way, I can also choose to write here soon as scenario.write. I can say clicked on first product link, so that it also gets logged in the system, product link, or maybe in the report, not system, the report. Then I'll just copy this one, and this time I would say product index. So this time if I'm passing from outside, click on that specific product index, then it will just click on the specific product index. You see how easy it is for me to modify things and make things reusable. That's the beauty of the framework. The more reusable methods you create, the better the maintainability and extensibility of a framework becomes. So it is very, very easy for me to extend my framework to include more and more functionalities, different varied functionalities. So last here is clicked on. In this case, I will say clicked on product ID, maybe this one. By the way, for this specific test case, I might not be using it, because in this case, I will be using only this one because it's any product, click on any product. But still, I am choosing to create these overloaded methods so that if someone needs it, they can actually make use of it. So that's how I'm enhancing my framework. So even though I'm not using these methods, I will not be using these methods because my feature file is simply I'm able to see product description and this in the new tab. And here I will not be calling any now sorry, this is what I'm creating. I click on any product in the search results. So it's any product. I'm not passing any text. I'm not passing any index, right? But still I am choosing to add these methods. This is how you enhance the framework. You picturize, you visualize, and then you enhance it. So click on product link, product index, and this time I will be making use of this. So I will say this time I need to click on a product which contains that specific text. So I will say that I will maybe have to loop it through perhaps. 1 minute. So in order to loop it, what I will do is we will create a simple for loop, because we need to loop each and every item of this list to validate if the text which we wanted to have is present in what index, and that index is what we're going to click. So it would be something like this is going to be a for enhanced for loop. So I'm going to write web element inside my list. So for each web element inside the list, I am going to write e.getText, because each of this element inside this list is in itself is a web element, and all the web element methods will be available to it. So I'll say get text, and then I will say contains. If my get text contains the one which I've sent here, if this is contained inside this, then for that means I should be able to click on that specific index. So I will say click element. I will have to create a counter as well. So int counter, and for each counter I will have to, however I could have directly used for loop here. So instead of maintaining this counter, how about we just remove this logic from here? We can say for int I is equal to 0, I less than equal to list dot size I plus plus, and if it is, this is able to find, for example, so list dot get I dot get text contains product list, then click on element I think no need of a counter, and as soon as you click on it, you just click on break, and you will just say scenario dot write clicked on product ID, not product ID, product containing text as product text contains, something like this. And maybe some more you know, 1 minute, some error is coming. Okay, so what is missing right now in this is maybe some validation. Let's say if you send something and that nothing is present there, so what will happen, right? So if let's say that text is not present there, so we need to fail this. We need to say this product contains is not found anywhere. So we need to make sure that the I which we have, or maybe we can set a Boolean flag here. Boolean flag is equal to false, and if this is, if it enters this if, then we'll say flag is true, and here we in the end we'll just say if flag is true, maybe then you say I am able to click. Maybe I'll remove it from here. Else if flag is false, you will say unable to click on product containing text as this, no product found with mentioned text, and then you have to explicitly fail it as well. So you have to write like assert.fail, so that when it fails with a message. So I'm putting this. So this is how basically you write logic in a test case. You need to make it. So if let's say if I'm not putting this, what will happen? Let's say if someone user is passing some text from there, and if it is not able to find it, and you are not putting these kind of things, then test case will not even click it, and your test case will not even say I am failed. Why? Because it will just not click it. The step will be passed, because if it is not able to find, it is not right, giving any error about it, whether it's able to find or not able to find. So this kind of conditions or logic is necessary when you write your reusable methods. Okay. Now next is what we do next is, so we already have created these three methods. I'll go back here. I'll go here. I click on any product in the search result. So I'll come here. Then I will say text. Here I will just, all I have to do is to call the method, right? So I'll say text context UI dot get, that is present inside search page object. So I'll say get search page objects, then dot, and then I'll say click element not click element. So we'll say click on product link. So we have this one, this one, this one, these three methods, which is what we created earlier. So here we'll say click on product link because we don't care where we are clicking it. We are clicking on the first one, first link. All right. Now the next step is, there's one thing which is missing here. I'll come to that later. But next is, I am able to see product description detail in the new tab. So now I have to manage that once I click on it, the new tab is opening or not. If new tab is opening, I need to put a validation. Now how that validation would be, that validation will be about the text. Okay. So the text here is that if I'm clicking on a specific link, for example, this, I need to fetch that link, this text and store it somewhere. And once I store it, then once I reach here, I again need to fetch either this text or maybe the title or maybe this text. And after I fetch this text, I need to validate the previous text with this text. And that will be my logic for this step, which is when I'm able to see product description detail in new tab. Right? So let me start writing it. So before I start doing it, when I click on this product link, right, there's one step which is missing. The step is, when I click on this link, I am not really returning that on what link I clicked. It's just the first link, but what was the text of that link? I'm not doing it. So I should be modifying this method to return something. I can do that in multiple ways. Okay. Maybe to make things really simple, what I'll do is I will just return it. So after I do the operation, I will do a return, and the return I would say list.get 0 because I'm going to click on the first link. So this will return me a string, and this will be a text, .get text. So what I'm doing, wherever I'm clicking, I am returning the text of it inside this. I should be doing the same for here, but not here because here the product text is already present on where it is clicking, and maybe there is no harm in returning the complete text on which it is clicking. So return. I will store it somewhere. So int counter is equal to 0. Counter is equal to I, and I'm returning list dot get counter dot get text. This is returning a string. This is returning a string. I should put the similar text here. Not here, sorry. Should be here. And I should be putting product index. So now my methods I have modified to return the text on which the method is clicking. And the same value I would come here, I will fetch it. So I will say string product clicked text. Okay. And this will be my kind of, you can say, expected. This is my expected text which I need to validate. Now next is I'm able to see product description detail in the new tab. So now I will write some more logic. So clicking is done. So once the clicking is done, it will open a new tab. That is we know, right? But how we will handle it in Selenium, now that is a different thing. So when you click on it, what will happen? A new window will be opened, and Selenium cannot do any operations on it. Cannot read anything in this window, right? To do that, we need to explicitly make a switch from the driver from the previous window to this window. Only then it can start reading things here. So let me just quickly write the logic for it because we don't want everything to be recorded. Otherwise our video length will be huge. Let me just pause it for a moment. Let me write the code and then we'll resume. Right, so I have created product description objects because if you notice here, this is what we have in a separate, it's a separate page altogether. This is not part of search. This is a separate page altogether. So we need, this deserves a separate page object model file. So I've created a product description objects like, class here. And as all of our page object model file, we need to create a variable called a scenario at the top, and the constructor. In the constructor, we are passing the driver as well as scenario object, right? So whatever we are passing from outside is being saved here in the set driver, and so this portion, this and this always remains same for our framework specifically. This always has to be part of all the page object model file for our framework to work smoothly. Then I have added a product header element, which is this. So what I did is actually, this is what, so if I inspect this, you will get to see this here, right? So this is what I'm inspecting. So the product title is there, this contains the text, and I'm interested in this text basically. Right, so that also I am fetching from here, and then I'm simply, I created a method called as validate product description, and here I'm passing the expected, and then simply what I'm doing is I am doing the actual for actual. I am using a method called as get text. This method is again present inside our interact library. So this get text, I'm passing the by, and this is returning me the elements get text. So I'm not making use of any direct method calls in the my page object model file. So all I'm using is always using these reusable methods. So get text I'm passing here, and this is returning me the actual, and then this actual and this expected is what I'm asserting here. And I can also do something like this. So I will say dot trim. Okay, just to remove any possibility of if some extra spaces are coming. So here, if you notice, some extra spaces are coming, and I don't want it, right? So I'm using here dot trim, and if that also, let's say, doesn't work, so maybe I will check the contains basically, right? So if expected is contained in actual, then I will say it's passed. Right now I'm hoping that this exact equality works. If it doesn't work, then I have to resort to the contains part. I haven't tried it yet, so maybe I'll just keep it as it is for now. Now, before even I just validate this, I need to make some important changes. So those changes are inside this. So I will just tell you to do it here, and then maybe I'll talk about it later. So what you need to do is you need to switch it, right? Because right now my driver is pointing to a separate, right now my driver is pointing to the search page. When I click on it, product description is open. So I need to point my product description to that separate window so that I can actually read these values here. So to do that, I'll just first tell you the plain basic code of it, right? And after that, I will tell you the method which I have created to do that. So the plain Selenium code for switching purposes is driver.switch to. Okay, driver is not here, so maybe I can make use of get driver, basically driver dot. 1 minute. My driver is where? Okay, so driver is also basically part of context. Okay, all right. So let me do this then. Get driver. So this is returning me the driver. Then I will do a dot, and then I will say switch to. Come on. I will say dot switch to dot window, and here I need to pass name or handle. The idea is that each of the tab which gets opened is assigned a Windows handle, okay, or basically you can say handle. Now that handle is actually represented in a string format, and you need to pass the string format of that window corresponding to that window so that driver can be switched. So here we need to pass the string basically for that window so that the driver can be switched. Now how we will get that string format or string representation of that window? To do that, we have method called as driver. Sorry, again we need to use because we don't have a driver access directly here. So we'll say this dot get window handles. If you see this get window handles, this returns me a set of strings. So what I can do is I can also write here set of strings. This return me all the list of all the handles, basically handles. So once I get all the handles, I can actually either iterate it. So I can say for each go to the second window and then just do a switch. Or I can do what? I can convert this to maybe dot to array, maybe this, and then I can say that this returns me a string of array, and then I can maybe cast it. Maybe this. So once I get this, this gives me an array of all the handles which we have. So if I just say handles and one, so in this case, let's say my test is running from the beginning, that in that case, I will have only two tabs opened. One is this, second is this. So this will be my first, zeroth, this will be my first, right? And I would need to switch to the first window, like the second window that gives me the value as first, because my counter is from 0 and 1. So this will switch it to this window, and only then, once I make that switch, only then I can access the elements of this page. And once I am done with it, what I can do, I will have to switch it back, right? So if I have to switch it back, I will have to do the same steps again, either, or I can just simply say switch it back to handles 0. Okay, so once I do that, only then I can actually make changes inside this page, right? So this switching is very, very important. And I will, since I'm already on this switching thing, I will also tell you the difference between dot quit and the difference between dot close. So this dot close only closes the current window, right? So if right now I'm on this one, on the product description window, and if I run this command, what will happen? Whole window will not get closed, only the product description window will get closed, right? And if I do a dot quit, everything will be closed, right? So you have to make sure what you're calling when. So dot quit is I want to close everything, right? Dot close is used when you want to close only the specific window on which the driver is currently pointing. In this case, it makes sense because I can actually first switch it to a specific window. When I do a close, it will just close that specific product description window, right? So this is how basically you can do it. Let me just remove these things from here. So I can say handle this to arrays, and I will say switch to window handles. So this will switch it, and then I can actually call my method. So my method will be, my method is this get page, not this one actually. So right, so I need to make some more changes because my logic is present inside product description object. So if I'm adding a new page object in this specific framework, if you are adding a new page object, you also have to make an entry inside our text context UI, which is available, 1 minute, which is available here inside context. So with test context UI, and I also have to make a entry here. So product description, product description objects, and I will have to, of course, import it, and maybe should not be doing it again and again. For all, I should not be doing directly this, and I just remove this all. We don't need these many imports. So this is a regular expression which we can use to directly import everything from that specific package. And then last thing would be to create a get method for it, right? So I will create a get method. This is my get method for this returns product description. And this is the name of the method. This returns me the value of it. And I also would need to initialize it here. So this text context UI is basically I'm using for multiple purpose. One is for driver, second for page objects. And I can also use it for storing some data. Right now I'm not doing it. I don't want you to be confused about it, but we can use it for any kind of data which can be used which can fetch data from one step definition file and can provide it in the next step definition file. I'm not doing it as of now, right? So next thing would be this. So now I can actually access it. I can actually access it here. So then what I'll do is I will do a dot get, because my method is present inside get product description objects, and then dot validate product description header. And now I need to pass on what I'm expecting. So I was expecting this product click text expected, right? This is what I fetched when I click on it. And this is not available directly here because this is a local variable. I will have to make it as a class variable so that I can access it here. So what I'll do is I will create a string at the top. I will create this. Now, once I do this, it will be saved there. And now I can just pass this object here. Right, so this will be my complete code. Now to simplify it, because in the beginning, if you remember in the same video, I was talking about that I should not have like these kind of codes, switching and all those things here. So instead of doing this, what I will do, I will make use of existing methods which I have created inside the interact class, right? So to do that, what I will do is, instead of this, what I'll do is I will just remove this here because I don't want it, these kind of logics to be present here. And I don't want to do this as well. So what I'll do, let me comment this out as well. So what I'll do, I will write here test context UI dot get product description dot there's a method called a switch to default windows tab, sorry, to second window tab. I will call this. This will actually do the job of switching to the product description window. And once I'm done with this, then what I'll do, the next thing which I'll do is I will switch it back. However, I don't need to switch it back because at this point my test case will be over, but I should actually write my code, and I should, when I do something, I should also be cleaning it up. So I will just do a switch to default tab, and maybe I will just show you. So maybe this is how my code looks more cleaner perhaps. So if I go inside this, I will just show you what I've written here. So switch to second window, switch to default window, and I'm making use of this interact class again. And this method is available in the step definition file. The reason for that is why it is available here, because I am inheriting this interact class on all of my page object model files, right? So I'm using this, sorry, not here. I'm using this here. I'm using this here, and I'm using this here. The object I'm making use of is product description object, and on top of which I have interact methods as well. And that's the reason I'm able to access it here. So this switch to second window, switch to default window tab is what I'm making use of instead of directly writing the code. And this is how I'm trying to explain again that you should not be putting in any hard logic inside. Otherwise, your test can still work, but it will become very, very brittle. The code will be scattered here and there, and that is not a good framework practice. And this time, as we discussed last time, we are making use of or maybe we are creating a framework which is very, very real time like, and that's the reason you should refrain from putting any hard logic here. Right, so this is our test case is now completed, and in this test case we also learned how will we switch to different windows. So the hard logic for that is I try to explain this, and I have structured that logic inside this switch to second window, switch to default window concept here. Yeah, so maybe next test case which we're going to automate would be more towards maybe towards the add to cart, and we'll try to add more carts, and then we'll try to write more logic of pricing basically. And this would include more while doing it we'll learn more Selenium concepts as well as more Java logic, how to create Java logic, as well as how to write logic which will be a proper test case. So test case writing logic is also is a skill which you need to learn while doing it. Yeah, so thank you for today.